And welcome along, everybody, to URS one more time. For this season, it is round 13. Well, we got 3 more times left in the season, but I'm your host and commentator, Ryan Ocon31. Today, I am joined by Jamie, also known as Burning Man 8034. Welcome along.
Hello again.
So, round 13, Austria, and the Red Bull Ring, as they like to call it. Could see a Red Bull win today. Got a lot of news to cover. So, first, before I get into that, how are you today?
I'm good. Haven't really been up to much today. Just been looking after the animals since I have the house to myself.
Oh, very nice. I don't have the house to myself. I'm not that lucky, but um, at least we can get everything sorted here with everything going on. Gagi will need an invite. I think
I have invited
him,
him twice. I'm
and
not
both
sure if it's
AlphaTauris. Yeah, he'll need another one. But
yeah.
while we sort that out, I'm going to go over. Um, I'm going to go over a lot of the stuff from last week. Last week was the French Grand Prix. Jab gained 5 points on championship leader Pluto. The gap last season, heading into Gagi's now online, so he can get an invite. But the gap last season, he'll get the invite this time.
Oh,
The
okay, good.
gap last season, heading into the last 3 races of the season, was 30 points. Or sorry, the season before. It was 30 points between Sam and Pluto. This time with Jab and Pluto, it is 35 points. So a little more ground for Jab to make up than Sam had, but it's not like Jab is in a car he shouldn't be in, or Jab is not in a car that is that overpowered with the tracks coming up. Jab will have to do a lot. Pluto's been struggling a little bit recently result-wise. He's had the pace. He's still been incredible, but getting the results, it's been a bit trickier. Last week's race, though, for the win, Joseph F1 won his first ever race. Com was on the podium, and also on the podium as well was QBR20 Joe. Surfy came close to a podium, P20 to P4. Gagi also took his best finish of the season and in the league last week, P6. Not only that, but who else? Yeah, Gagi and Joseph need invites. By the way, they'll need invites. Not only that, but pole sitter QBR20 Joe became the second repeat pole sitter of the season. And we also had a little bit of controversy in a couple of moments in the race. We'll go over that in just a moment. But as for the championship standings, 35 points separate Jab and Pluto. After that is Kostag. Kostag still has somewhat of a championship chance. However, it's going to be very unlikely for him to win it. That is where his chance could be eliminated today. Also, not only can his chance be eliminated today, but Jab's can be too, if Pluto can extend his point lead a significant enough gap, which it's going to be hard to do, but it's still possible. The constructor standings as well also have a bit of a change with Haas ahead of AlphaTauri, 64 points. Haas can clinch today, but they need to really outscore AlphaTauri. Their one is more likelier, I would say. But Haas also need to have an excelling performance in order to do that. And, previous seasons at this track, that's one thing we're going to go over quickly before we get into any controversy or anything else. As for the previous seasons that have happened at this race, Season 1, yeah, I lost the race, but it was likely going to be a battle between me, Polo, and Pluto.
Bold job.
And Sam Steed ended up getting a safety car that helped give him the win. He was needing to pit again, was pulling away, then he got caught once the tires worn, and there you go. That's exactly what happened to him.
Right,
And
just
Sam
seen
won off the safety car restart.
Joseph has said he can join in Quali, I think. Yeah, in one of other servers that I'm in with him. He's joining in Quali.
Joseph said he's joining quali?
Yeah, in one of the other
All
servers.
right. All
Uh,
right, just want to check some quickly with that, but yeah, after last week's restart fiasco and everything else that happened there, we have put in a lot of new rules. I have that up in my document right now, so we will be checking that if a restart is needed. As for anything else is concerned, by the way, 18 drivers in this grid. We have a couple penalties to be served. As for any new changes to the full-time driver lineup, Lajovic is replacing TJR. After a bit of controversy from him, he lost his seat after having enough penalty points to do so, which lost him the full-time seat as mentioned.
Are we good to go?
Yes, we are good to go.
Right,
Make sure you let them know that an AlphaTauri needs to be saved for qualifying.
Right.
As Joseph will be able to join.
Ready. Up.
Hopefully it does not give him the work. I don't think it will.
Hurry. Nope. Right, there you are.
All right, we are able to ready up. As for the penalty, as for the penalties to be served in itself, though. Hold on, let me see.
I thought you just got out there. I thought it looked like your mic died or something.
Yeah, I know. I'm just bringing up something in admin chat because what had happened with the Merc still being available. We still have... Just trying to figure that situation out quickly before we can get anything going. We'd still have the Alpine available. Okay. As for penalties to be served, that is an update, and let me go over that right now. Penalties to be served. And by the way, yeah, that podium was Sam, Pluto, and myself. If you did not hear that from season 1. And Com actually won that race on track. He's not here today, but he did score a podium last weekend. Penalties to be served. Rice Cracker in this qualifying session has a qualifying ban. He has a 5-second penalty to be served in the race. For other drivers in this lobby, there are no penalties to be served. Now we're on to the qualifying session. With going to be more than 17 minutes remaining now. Yeah, there we go. That has changed. Twitch chat, welcome along. Glad to have you. Rain in qualifying, Chungus says, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I know how I've been trolled the last couple weeks, but I will check back with a couple of the drivers, though, however. Rowdy says, yay in main chat. Well, we'll see what that contributes to. Milo says he's just left work, so we'll figure that out with the AlphaTauri seat in just a moment. Perfect. But we already gone over penalties to be served. How about the reserves in this race? There are a couple of reserves we did not go over. We have GSR Thrasher in the Mercedes. You know, the last time you ran on a Mercedes, you want to know what happened there, Jamie?
What happened?
Led 2 qualifying sessions.
Ooh.
Then DNF'd in the race.
Oh.
As for Lando.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna have something like led 2 qualifying sessions, did a really good in the race. Nah.
No, I mean, well, he got taken out at the finale in the only race for Mercedes he did. But with Com not being here, he's in a Merc there. So there you go. There was no other ride available for Rasher, which he would have loved. I know he would have loved. He was talking about loving to race for other teams. But as for Lando, Lando's the McLaren. That was the last car he ran when he was full-time. He did reserve back at Imola. He did score points. He ended up doing that with the rear wing damage. He survived the last couple of laps, freaking getting wing damage, which was crazy. As for qualifying, oh boy. End of qualifying, I think. I can't tell if this is the race or not, but there is rain at some point according to what Chungus is showing me. So this is going to get interesting, I think. Well, you know, I don't blame Chungus. He's not lying this time. So
you just have massive trust issues with him now.
Oh, I do. I did since the first time they trolled. And yeah, Lennon Norris in the McLaren, and Will Cromack has that contract clause which allows him to go to Alpine based off of being in Mercedes. So he is in the Alpine today. We have him going alongside Riles. Surfy is the first one to go on a lap, and we're going to be on board with him on the run down to Turn 3. Turn 3 is such a hard place to get nailed down on the brakes. It is a 16.4 in the first sector. Oh, he locks up. That was exactly what I was saying. We'll see if he keeps going or not. He loses a bit of traction at a Turn 3, and he's let off of this one. He's going for Polo God. Polo God, I don't know if he's made any mistakes, but he is purple through the first sector. Considering he's only been one or two people who've gone through the first sector so far, hey, that's being better than your teammate at least. And as he now comes through turn 4, on the run to turn 5 and 6 and so on, we're going to see what Polo God can excel to this lap. Come into the double left-hander. This one ends sector 2. This one starts sector 3. Polo God a 45.8. Now compared to what I was doing in practice, like with these guys and with Polo, Logovic, Joe, and others, a 45.8 is about 410 off where he should be. So considering this is bankers in Q1, that's not too bad. As he comes to the line now, out of the final corner, turn 10, start finish line, it is going to be a 6-1. And we're going to continue to see the times get even faster. That's not going to be the fastest we'll go. Surfy is next. Rice Cracker has now served his qualifying ban. And he will start last. As for cars coming up to the line, we have Lando Norris on an outlap. Here's Lando Norris, back in the McLaren. The McLaren, I believe this is the last race, Jamie, with the special livery, considering there's an update to the game coming Monday. Ooh, good slide. He's maybe 4 for 4 for saves in the last couple of days. I did a couple lobbies with him last night, and he was saving that race car like crazy. So, good save by Lando, but 16-7 for the first sector.
You know, I'm kind of fine with a special livery for McLaren going on. It's too much black.
Thrasher sets in a time. Maddie sets in a time. His is a 5.8. As for Lando, I actually think he's continuing this lap. Here he comes. Turn 6. Pretty easy through there. He's going to be slower than what his time would originally be. But we'll have 2 drivers getting eliminated off of pure pace, it looks like, unless Milo does join us sometime during this qualifying session. Riles goes P2. Pluto goes P4. You have also Rowdy clocking out time. Lando's invalidated and spun off the final corner. Your championship contender, JetBully MSU, is going to go second. As for other drivers, Logovic's first lap as a full-time driver will cross the line. He'll be 7th. 7-2. He was having trouble in the one-shot qualies, cracking into the 5s. This last time that he practiced with us, he got into the 5s. So just improvement after improvement for this driver. There's also a Ferrari crossing the line. That's Aaron Ocon going to go 6th. Next up is an Alfa Romeo. That's Blue Goggy going to start a lap. Blue Goggy, best finish last week. It was originally P5, but then he got demoted after contact with Pluto, which put him P6.
Hostag spins as well.
Chungus.
So he's coming to set his lap.
Oh, there you go. Chungus also set a lap that was a 5.8. We're into the 5.8s. I don't think Maddie was barely in the 5.8s. Yeah, he was. Sorry, I thought that was a 5.899. Never mind. He is already into the 5.8s. But Goggy now coming through turn 3 and onto the long DRS straight, which we'll have to see if it allows many overtaking opportunities. I've heard a lot of drivers, including myself. Well, I can't really say I'm a driver, but a lot of people, including myself, have said that straightaway, let alone really any straightaway with DRS, has not been too effective. But I think any sort of usage of the battery is going to be a very crucial in this race today. 45.8 to the middle sector for Goggy now. He's purple. And also setting laps in this session, Lando Norris, Rowdy, TJ Boy, both McLaren setting laps. Good friends they have been throughout league racing for a long, long time. Now Goggy comes out of the final corner. It's a 5.8. He's got a set to get to the top. He's setting a 6.1 to get him 5th. Behind that, I don't think we got many people on laps. We have Lando on an in-lap, I think. Rowdy on an in-lap, Surfy, and we have Will Cromack coming to the line in the Alpine. His first lap's in an Alpine. His first representative lap in an Alpine. He will go 9th fastest. We have a couple of spinners there. That's Rowdy, TJ Boy, and the McLaren, and Leonard is trying to get back to the pit lane, I'd assume. With that battery left, at least.
A decent amount of spins in this first quality session.
Well, if we're going to keep having these spins, it will allow Lojovic to get through into the next qualifying session, which I don't think he's ever done if we go look at our statistics. Britain, season 1, or sorry, this season, not through Q2. Last season, Brazil, I think it might have been Brazil or it was Bahrain, one of the 2 races, or Saudi, not through. Those were his only other starts, I believe. So
Joe goes to 4th.
Up here in his 3rd or 4th start, and there you go. Joe is 4th, Sam 10th, by the way. Sam currently through. Have to see what other races he started. Surfy's on a lap, by the way. Let's watch Surfy. Surfy at the end of the sector, 16.4. So, Aston Martin's trying to find time through Sector 1 in order to be able to improve on their laps. Polo God sits 7th in the other Aston Martin. This field is just so close throughout Jab on back. I mean, just look at, well, I should say Joe on back, but Jab up in front with to Williams, Matty, all those guys. It helps what they've been able to do.
Looking like it's going to be a very close quality of all these times.
Definitely. And if Surfy can set on a time, he might get even closer with these guys. Set a good Sector 1. I didn't see what Sector 2 was. But now, coming out of the final corner there, also with a Red Bull following, Surfy will go 10th. So that's Joe setting in another lap. That sets him even better. 4th. So it would be nice to see a Red Bull win at the Red Bull Ring. We'll have to see what they can do that. Kostag now, on a lap. Turn 1. And on the run to turn 2, he's got a Red Bull in front of him, getting some slips from him. Now, this AlphaTauri is supposed to be the 5th fastest car at this track. Normally, on a regular basis, it is the 6th fastest car, but it is far ahead of the McLaren and Alfa Romeo. Sorry, it's usually the 7th fastest car. Apologies, just one behind, just 1%, 1.01% behind the Alfa Romeo. But most tracks, it is, like I said, the 7th fastest car, but this one is 5th fastest, and it's ahead of the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo. And if Kostag can set in a time, we can see how representative this AlphaTauri is. 45.9 to the middle sector, so a little bit down from what we've been seeing, but considering there's rain coming, I don't know how much these drivers are pushing it or not, and I don't even know if that's the race. The thing that Chungus showed in the main chat doesn't necessarily show if it's the race or not, so we'll have to find out. Kostag comes to the final corner now, comes to the start-finish line, and what will this lap be for Kostag returning? It'll be 9th place for him, 6.4, dead even.
And look how close it is, like. Look, Kostag's at 6.4, and then Ryle's in 5th and 6.1. Well, barely 6.1. This is extremely close.
I'm gonna see if I can get Joseph an invite to the lobby.
Chungus has said in main chat that the rain is in quali, not race. Well,
okay.
Didn't say anything about race, but he said it is definitely quali.
Okay, so that's at least something I got confirmed. So that's good.
Oh, Alnocon goes to the top right now.
5.7. So yeah, the times are continuing to improve. And considering this is a pad and a car track, Aaron Ocon should really be excelling here. And it's good that he has. Season 1, I think he wasn't he a part of this battle up at the front? God, my memory's got so bad. I don't know if he was. Ryle's now through the middle sector. 10th down from him. So he's going to have to find time in the final sector and if he wants to improve this. But yeah, I go back to, Lodgevic starts here. Since I was speaking on that topic, Britain back earlier this season, it was not pretty. Did not start the race at all. That's how bad it was for him. Riles comes across the line. He will not improve at all, by the way. Pluto is going to have to go out again, and he has. Is he improving in the second sector, however? No. Wow, so this is really weird. They're not improving at all. So, no, as I was saying, Lodgevic did the race in Britain. Didn't start it because of complications from internet. Now, who is that who improved? Someone just improved. That was Will. 9th place for him in the Alpine. Don't really have much people on laps. We have Sam out on track, but... No, continuing to go through Lodgevic. He didn't make it out of Q1 in Britain. Then you go back to Bahrain last season. I believe he didn't make it out of Q1. I want to say he didn't. Let me check. I know Saudi Arabia, Lodgevic didn't make it out of Q1, and I think this was only 2 starts last season. But if he can continue, he's currently out of Q1. Making it out of Q1, I should say.
Going to be very close to make it out, though. Obviously, Rowdy.
I think for everybody it's going to be.
Because obviously Rowdy hasn't really set a proper lap. Thrasher and Goggy going to wheel right now.
Oh boy, well, You know, I don't think it helps that these two recently collided. They had a social race in a different league recently at China, and both of them collided. I know they're not too happy with each other still about it, but considering the times are close, they both still have a chance to make it out of Q1. And Thrasher didn't make it out of Q1 with a Ferrari last week, so we'll see if he can change that with a Mercedes. He's the only Mercedes in the grid, but here's Surfy. Now, coming up to turn 1. You know, you can't get on the yellow part of the curb on the outside or else you're going to lose tons of time. And that's the same way for turn 3. I've seen a lot of people do it, and they're just continuing to mess themselves up by doing that. 7 thousandths is how much Surfy's down on improving. And staying far away from the yellow curb, but spins around. Oh, and that's a front wing gone. Next up to start a lap is Thrasher. Thrasher already on the run to turn 3. He's down. Everybody's down in their times. I think a fair point Chungus made is, why is Guggy going back out? He's just wasting tires. That is a fair point. He's 7th place. He's going to make it through. Thrasher now. Turn 4. Now the run to turn 5 and 6. The double left-handers, which could definitely change the outcome of where he sits in this qualifying session. He's currently safe, but, you know, if we continue to see people behind him improve, he might not be. 3/10 though. If Thrasher can finish this lap, that would likely set him to the top 10. Purple through sector 2 that was. Now to the final 2 corners. He's going to clip the inside curb. No, he's going to stay away from it, but he's going to be in 7th. Now shifting down to 4th. A little bit better traction for Thrasher. Coming to the line for Thrasher. What's it going to be? Thrasher is toward the top 10, but he's not in it. He is currently making himself feel a little bit safer now, being up to 11th. Sam Steed. Is he on a lap? Is he starting a lap? I think Sam Steed's starting a lap. Sam Steed is trying to get out of Q1. Trying to get into Q3, though, most importantly. But first, you have to get past Q1. That is what Sam is trying to do. Joseph needs an invite.
Yep. Got it.
Now Sam is getting slipstream from his teammate Goggy. Sam, at the end of the first sector, is 2/10 up.
Come on, open load game. Invite people.
Joe thinks he's safe, and so does 7 of the top 8. Next up is a McLaren. That's Rowdy TJ Boy starting a lap, but Sam Steed is trying to keep himself in Q2 as of right now. He's currently doing that by being 14th, but he's going to have the cars behind him of Rowdy likely to improve. Lando likely to improve. How about Pluto going 2nd? He's improving. Sam Steed, a 10th up on his time. This would only put him ahead of Surfy right now, so the improvement has to come sometime soon from Sam Steed. Joseph also may have enough time to set a lap and get into Q2. Sam Steed comes out of the final corner, comes to the start-finish line. Sam Steed is only ahead of Surfy. Rowdy is also on a lap, by the way, and he's coming through Sector 2. The end of Sector 2 for Rowdy is a 2nd clear, but he's going to have to be more than a 2nd clear if he wants to have a chance to get through to Q2. He has to beat Lando. He has to beat Logovic. Now, the 2nd to last corner loses a bit of the rear. Now the final corner. Comes to the start-finish line. Kostad goes 5th, but how about Rowdy coming to the line? What's he going to do? Rowdy goes 8th and will knock Logovic into the bottom 5, or bottom 4.
Now the thing I'm wondering here is Joseph going to have enough time to put on his setup and get out? Set a lap?
You know, I must say, that would be impressive if he's able to do that. Is he coming out now? Don't think so. He's got to get out soon enough. It could be. Thrasher thinks he's safe. I don't see Joseph coming out, but if he wants to do what he can, he has to get out now. He's typing in main chat. I don't think that typing will help. Logovic now is 16th, and he is trying to get himself out of Q1. Don't know if Joseph will have enough time. I don't think so.
Think he will.
Logovic, a 10th up on his time. Joseph, for the first time in pure pace, well, not even pure pace, but pure being here in qualifying is out. I mean, he didn't get to set a lap, so fair enough to him, but we now have 2 other drivers trying to get through, and Rowdy TJ Boy has crashed out of qualifying, I think. That will ensure that he can get to Q2, but won't compete in Q2. As for Logovic, he now has to beat Surfy's time, and he is up on his time purple through sector 2, and now coming to the penultimate 2 corners. Penultimate corner. Final corner. Logovic has never seen Q2 before. Can today, his first full-time start, be the day he crosses the line? He will go through. And he's safe. Sam Steed retired. He thinks he's safe. Surfy's also coming to the line. Lando's also got a chance here. Lando is 3/10 up in the first sector. Now, it's all going to matter through Sector 2. Joseph out of qualifying. Rice Cracker out of qualifying. Is Lando going to be the next one? Lando, 6/10 of an improvement, but he's going to have to beat Surfy and Sam Steed. So he's going to have to improve by over a second. Lando enters the final 2 corners. Here he comes. Final corner. Really good so far from Lando. It looks perfectly executed, but is it perfectly executed? Comes to the line. He's through. He knocks Sam Steed out of qualifying. Surfy locks up at turn 4. Now Surfy's on a lap, and Surfy's trying to get to the flag in time to get himself in. We know for sure Logovic is surely in. Kostag as well set a time that set him 5th fastest. That now makes the top 5 within a 10th of each other, with Aaron O'Connor on top. Now, Surfy is the last one to change things here. He's going to have to beat Sam Steed. He's going to have to beat Lando. First, his target is Sam, but his target is keeping it on the track. He goes off and now comes to the line. Is Surfy getting through? No! He's out again in Q1 for the 3rd time in a row.
That definitely did not help.
Aaron, ahead of Pluto. Then it's Chungus, then it's Maddie, then it's Kostag. Good top 5 there. They're all close. Will, in that Alpine, his first ever laps in an Alpine, puts him through to Q2. Logovic also through in the Red Bull. In his first full-time start, Lando as a reserve is through. Thrasher is through as a reserve. Rowdy on pure pace is through, but crashed out, so he won't compete. Sam, out. Surfy, out. Joseph and Rice Cracker did not get to set times.
It's unlucky for Joseph, because if he'd managed to join just a bit sooner, I reckon he could have set a lap.
Yeah, most definitely. That could have definitely changed the outcome for sure. But Sam Steed out of Q1 again. This is 13 races into the season. 14 since the last time. Go back all the way to Saudi Arabia. He's still not made Q2. Or sorry, Q3. And Surfy mentioned one of his biggest struggles to get himself out of Q1 was all about not locking up into turn 3. And this qualifying session is going to be really crazy because I think almost everybody is going to have to start coming on track now. You see all the cars coming out.
Oh, Jesus.
This is because of the fact that it's going to start raining soon.
Look at all those cars.
That was the plan. Polo God, the first one out. Polo God was also the first one out if you go all the way back to Brazil Season 1 when it did start raining. So Polo God is going to have to try to get himself through and going to have to set a representative time. I think everybody is on track.
Literally
Let's see,
everyone
Joe
has come
coming out of the pit lane. Kostag. Chungus is not out. Riles is coming out now. So, yep, here's the rain. You can see the rain starting on the halo. So this is why it was important for Polo God to come out of the pit lane right when he did.
Well, got us in a good position here.
Chungus mentions in main chat he needs to go to the bathroom. This is not ideal. So that might be why he's not out on track, and now he is. We'll get to interviews with people who are out of Q1 in a moment, but when it comes to
URS disabled already.
Polo God, that is a big thing for these guys. That is crucial. Could this mean that intermediate tires could be a faster time once things get set and things get going? Polo God is the first one to start a lap and could be the first one to complete a lap. Look at the track, it's completely wet.
And Chungus
So this may mean once we get to the stage where they pit again for inners. The inners could get you into Q3. Oh, Pluto starts a lap, and everybody else behind him. It's trouble at turn 3 for Polo on traction. Look at this. On the run down to turn 4, he is having trouble getting the power down. And now, Pluto also coming to turn 4. We got a spin. That's an AlphaTauri Kostag. But Polo is struggling. Look at this. You could just see the spray in the back of the car. They're going to have to go to inners in order to get a representative lap in. This is just trouble for them in the softs. This is a crash waiting to happen as Polo God hits the sector split. He is already 7 seconds down than what the dry time would be. Somehow, there are still no yellow flags as we stand right now, but Polo God could be standing on the top right now. Polo God enters the final 2 corners, goes wide. This is just hard to watch. Polo God final corner, comes to the line. This will be an 19-0. Next up is Pluto. He will get a 21-1. Even faster, Jab will go. Maddie, pitting. Chungus pitting. Lando pitting. Aaron, slower. And look at that. Chungus has already made the decision to go to inners. Will, slower. Bulgogi, slower. Thrasher, slower. Everybody else is getting slower, and they're going to have to go to inners. I think with Polo God's time, though, his could be the only time on soft tires that could set somebody through to Q3. And that is a bold statement to say, but with how he was, it could be the only time that could set him through, depending on how crazy this session may go.
No, I'm impressed by how pretty much no one spanned. Well, spun. Spam? Isn't even a word,
I think it was Kostag was the only one that I could think of, but he going to the inners right away.
There were 2.
Or going to go into the pits right away.
Matty Mumu and Kostag both invalidated that soft lap. But I'm
Yeah, you
impressed
can just see how much more comfortable the inners are for Chungus right here. Just look at this. Look at this down the straightaway. I mean, he's not struggling for traction. He's not struggling to get the power down out of turn 3. He's having a fun time, can cruise this. And we'll see what the difference is between him and Polo. The time difference was a 14-second difference compared to the fastest time we could see in Q3 if it was a dry session. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's one on the soft pretty much coming into pits, change it inters.
So we'll get some interviews, and I think we'll get Joseph or Rowdy in one of the 2. We'll talk to them. Chungus, though. Rowdy says, that was fun to watch. Well, let's see how fun it is to watch Chungus on a lap here. Could he possibly beat Polo God's lap, which was a 119? Now, turn 1 for Chungus clobbers the inside curb. Now refers to the left side curb, which he's going to have to rely on a little bit. Now, the top 8 are in the pits, but they're all shown on the soft tires right now. That could change in the coming moments. Chungus, 17.7. Now, turn 3, and on the run to turn 4. How much more comfortable, can you be really on these inners compared to the softs? We're going to have to find out. From Polo God to Chungus' lap, a little bit of a tank slapper for Chungus. But now, on the run to the double left, how much of an improvement is this to Polo God's lap? This is purple. This is easily going to beat Polo God's lap. So, my statement was Polo God's lap could get him through from soft tires if this is a crazy enough session. Well, Chungus' lap is going to be the start to show how wrong that was. Here's Chungus coming to the line now. Bottle corner. Excels that beautifully. Has to get the traction down. Has to get the power down just in time to set himself into the 14s. 14.6. So that's 4.4 seconds faster. That's how much of an improvement that is. That is ridiculous. Kostag now. The next one to start a lap. We're going to go on board with him in the AlphaTauri. The only AlphaTauri to get through. And if you want to speak about all the teams, there's not really any team out from Q1. We had one McLaren out, one Mercedes because one Mercedes isn't racing, a Ferrari, an AlphaTauri, an Aston Martin, and an Alfa Romeo. 17.5 for Kostag. Through the first sector, it is going to be Matty Mumu. 14.0, so the improvement is real right now. Kostag Going down the straight on the run to turn 4. He's going to clip the curb on the entry. Oh, and goes a bit wide in the entrance. In 3rd gear. Going up the gears now. 4th, 5th. You see him going. And going and going and going. Going to the right side there. Try to hook up to the left side here of turn 5. Now to turn 6. You're going to go. Oh, a little bit of a loose rear end from Kostag. 50.5 though at the sector split. That's sector 2, purple. You have cars in front of Kostag who are trying to start laps or trying to complete laps. QBR20 Joe sets on the lap. That's 3rd fastest, a 2nd behind. Chungus also complete a lap. He's a little bit slower than Matty Mimu. 80,000 separate them. But can Kostag separate his AlphaTauri in between them? You bet he can. He's going to go to the line 13.6. Next up is the Alfa Romeo. That's Gagi, I believe, who set on a time. That's 11th fastest. Next up is Lando. He's going to go 4th. Lando in the wet qualifying session could see Q3 again. Next up is the Haas. Believe that's Pluto. Sorry, that's Matty. Is he coming in the pits? Is he continuing? No, he's going to continue. He's going to go faster. And he's backing off this time, so we're going to go on board with somebody else. Riles goes 3rd fastest. And then Alpine. Will Cromack, I believe, is next. In his Alpine. Oh, we're going to watch Will Cromack anyway. To Williams, I believe that's Jab. Jab will go 2nd fastest. Next up is Will. Will comes to the line. A little bit disorganized, I've got with all this wet running, but Will has got himself really organized in that Alpine to set himself 6th fastest. How about Logovic going 7th fastest? Next up is QBR20 Joe coming to the line. It's an improvement again. 5th fastest, and look at how close 5th through 8th is. Next up is Pluto. Pluto slots himself right in there. How about that? I'm going to watch Pluto's lap. I would say probably the master of wet racing in this league. One of the masters of wet racing. Gagi goes 13.4. That's even faster. Next up is Aaron. Aaron sets on a time, but not so fast. Lando sets on a time that's faster than Joe. And you can see the other Joe of Pluto improving 3/10 in the first sector. Loses the rear end exit and continuing to have trouble putting the traction down out of turn 3 and on the run to turn 4. But these times are just very, very close. We could see a surprise pole sitter out of this whole thing. Here's Pluto at turn 5. Jab, 2nd fastest. This could be down to the wire on who makes Q3 and who doesn't. But right now, like I said, the master of the wet racing in this league, Pluto, would set himself 10 thousandths off Gagi's time after that sector 2 split. You could just see having a little bit of trouble at the rear end, but not a lot. Hooking up this lap pretty well. He's coming to the start finish line now. Pluto crosses the line. He'll go faster than Gagi by almost 2/10. Next up's that Aston Martin. That's Polo guy who invalidated. He's going to have a valid lap this time, hopefully. And he'll need it in order to get himself into Q3. Logovic out right now. Thrasher out. Aaron out. Can Aaron change him being out? He can. He's not going to knock Will into the elimination zone. Polo God coming on the run to turn 3 now. Now, for those wanting an interview from possibly Rowdy, possibly Joseph, we'll get that toward the end of the session here and into Q3. Here's Polo God at turn 3. Not too close to the yellow curb there, but close on exit to try to find some grip in that Aston Martin. That Aston Martin, like I said, just finds time to lose almost everywhere. But Polo God is trying to find time to get himself into Q3. Will Cromack, that difference between him and Chungus into Q3, that is like 10 thousandths. But the difference between him and 8th, though, is 200ths. So that's how close this qualifying session is. 40 thousandths up right now for Polo God. This would not get him into Q3 at all. He's going to have to continue to improve, and he's spinning into the wall. And that's right in the path of Pluto as well. We got Will Cromack coming to the line. Yeah, that's interesting. He's going to knock Chungus out. Will Cromack goes 7th. Next up is actually Joe's invalidated. Here's Aaron Ocon. Aaron Ocon is trying to find time to improve. Aaron Ocon comes out of the fallen corner. Currently sits on the cutoff line. Currently will sit 5th. So he changes that in just a split second. Kostag is next, and then we'll get an interview in. Preferably with Rowdy. As of right now, Kostag comes to the line. I think he's starting a lap, actually, so we'll go on board with that while we talk to Rowdy. Chat, give us your predictions on who will be knocked out in Q2 and who you think has a chance for pole today. Joe now is on that cutoff, by the way, with Aaron setting a better time right there. And even that cutoff time is close. So let's get Rowdy in here and talk to him. I'm going to do it through a Discord call. Because for Rowdy, he is one of our cross-platform people. So if we didn't get him through here, then we probably have no chance of getting him. Unless it was the Xbox app that we don't even know if it includes audio. We know it does for Matty because he's on PC when he does his races. However, Rowdy is not. Rowdy, welcome along. Jab, second fastest. Hello, welcome. So, you know, I know you had the pace to get through. You would love to be in this qualifying session. I know you would, but what happened to cause your crash to make you not compete in Q2? You made it to Q2, but you didn't get to compete because you crashed.
Coming out of, I'm not sure what corner it was. Lost the back end a little, overcorrected then. Just had my frame rate drop like heck, and all of a second later, I just found myself in the wall in the mouth. So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Not the qualifying session you would have wanted. Out qualified by your teammate this week. However, just one more question before we get back going to things, and then I'll allow Burning Man to get 2 questions for next qualifying session for whoever he chooses to do. As for you, you know, what do you expect in the race now that you've qualified back there? And second of all, I did not get any confirmation about the race, but is the race dry?
I believe it should be. And as for how the race should go, I'm just hoping for a repeat season 2, preferably on the podium this time though.
Yeah, I may want to correct you there. It was season 1, I believe. I know it feels like we ran Austria last season. You know, last season was last game, but good luck in the race, and we hope for the best for you.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Have fun. Chungus is through right now, knocking Will Cromack onto the bubble spot. Aaron Ocon set in a better time, I believe, or at least cross the line to get back up to speed. No, he was down. Apologies. Riles, however, is starting a lap. I'm going to go on board with someone who's out right now. How about Polo God? He's in this traffic with the McLaren. Loses the rear again. Luckily, he saves it. And is still in this qualifying session. And is still able to improve. Look at the gap. 2 tenths up. Next, across the line. How about Matty Mumu? What's Matty Mumu going to do? No, he's going to start a lap. But still, it is 6 tenths to the front of the field. From 1st to 10th. In order to get through to this qualifying session into Q3. How about that Alfa Romeo? Blue Goggy's next. Can he say something? No. I think he's starting a lap. Next up's the McLaren. Lando. Can Lando go through? He improves, but can't go through. How about Polo God with that mistake, though? Getting through to Q3 right now. Next up was Joe and Ludwig. They're going to start laps. One of them might be finishing a lap. How about Joe? He's through. Up to 5th. And tied with Goggy. That knocks Matty Mumu into the bubble. Chungus, can he improve? Yes, he can. How about that? 7th place for him. Checkered flag for him. Aaron Ocon invalidates and crosses the line and could possibly be knocked out. Next up, I believe, was Riles. Riles in that Alpine crossing the line now. Improves, but can't see much better. Next up, currently in the elimination zone, is Matty Mumu. He's next to cross the line. Will Cromack is improving by a 10th. That would set him ahead of Aaron Ocon, possibly. Matty Mumu, never been eliminated in qualifying. Is he going to be eliminated this week? No, he goes to the top, leading Q2. Will Cromack, he's next. Can he go through? Aaron Ocon is out. Will Cromack knocks Polo God out for now. He's in. Next up is Goggy. Goggy, safe for now. Next up is Lando. How about Lando? Can he go through? Lando misses out. Polo God crashes, cannot get through. Logovic also cannot get through. And Thrasher, 4 tenths to the top of the board. Barely makes it through.
That was close.
It was. You'll have to get Rice Cracker. No, way back to the session.
It's an invite.
But may I say, that was close.
Invite him again.
How about Joseph? Let's get him in here, talk to him. about being out in Q1. I know he couldn't set a time. I didn't know if he was trying to set a time or not, but we'll find out from him. I'll let you have a go at him.
All right.
Chungus asking himself, why is he so far off from the pad drivers? But Chungus, 4/10 to the top of the board. You know, it was, what, 500ths? The difference between him and not making Q3? Polo got out. Aaron Ocon out. Lando Norris out. And so is Lojovic Joe 9. So out of qualifying once again, Lugovic, Lando, Aaron, Polo got Thrasher in the Mercedes as a reserve makes it through. Will Cromack, his first laps in an Alpine, makes it through. Chungus, Gagi, Joe, Kostag, Riles, Jab, Pluto, and Maddie. It's in a Haas 1-2. And on the weekend that they could win the Constructors' Championship, why not take an extra pole point to try to do it? Their chances now, with both drivers being in. They had a chance to have both drivers, well, both drivers out at one point. Both drivers possibly being out of Q1. Maybe not as much with Pluto, but more so at Maddie in this qualifying session. He had a chance to be out. And you could just see, I don't see much rain. I can't tell unless I'm on board with the driver, but we could be seeing a wet to dry qualifying session, and that would make a lovely session.
Game has started.
So I invited Joseph to get interviewing, but yeah, it has started on my enter, so we'll have to find out from that. First, let's get a quick interview in with Lugovic, since I did not see Joseph join. So, Lojovic 09, getting him in the party. Kostag, choosing to go to the soft tires. Maybe waiting for the track to be fully dry. You see a Williams car going out, though. We invited Lojovic, and he has joined us. Hello, I'll include my audio for your stream as well. So why not? So, Burning Man, have a go. Give him 2 questions, and make it quick so we can get into this qualifying session.
Right then, so obviously it's your first start as a full-time driver. How's it feeling in the Red Bull?
It's great. I'm enjoying the time. Obviously, it's great to be racing again, and like, yeah, it's definitely intense with how close the pack is, and like, you've got to really push and push and push, and any tenth can count, as I found out just then.
Yeah, very close. How annoying is it to just miss out in Q3?
Oh, I was annoyed because I was about 7/10 up, and I would have got it into Q3 because but I went wide, and yeah, that's so annoying. But again, there's room for improvement for me. Obviously, first start, I need to just get learn with the process, and then by the time next week, I should have improved from this week, and then next week I should be a bit better.
Yeah, man.
Just one quick question. Who do you reckon set in pole?
Who do you think I
like
set?
that.
Who do I think set in pole?
Yeah, who do you think set in pole? Hello.
After what you've seen, you could have a good guess.
Put me on the spot here.
I love asking this, man. It's funny.
I give it to Joe. He's got my full
your
back in his teammate. I've got to give him full
There you
back
go.
in his teammate, so yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully Joe can take it.
So this is interesting. Chungus right now is on Inners on a dry track now, and there are a couple others who are too. You can see a little bit of spots, but no spray from the back. Lojovic, congratulations on getting through to Q2 for the first time after this being your 4th start. You finally got through to Q2. I just want to recognize that and give you a congratulations as we get through to Q3 now. Congrats.
Thank you.
Have fun in the race.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
Good luck.
Have fun on comms, guys. Goodbye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Chungus now. Penultimate corner. We see the final corner on Inners. Oh, he invalidates. I saw that one coming. He just cut the yellow curb. And if this was a couple games ago, you would have jumped right over it. But he didn't. Riles will be the first one across the line. Set a lap on these Inners. It will be an 11-2. So in this wet to dry qualifying session, well, really dry, wet to dry, this could be an interesting one for pole. 11-2. And I must say, you know, Q3, wet to dry. Q2 was fully wet. Q1 was fully dry. I mean, this is gonna be fun. I'm loving this. Next up's a Haas. Pluto. Still slower. The track is improving, and that means that we will see times improve, and we'll see drivers go to softs. Pluto has a slide. Okay, well, who else is on a lap? How about Gagi on the softs? Let's go on board with him. And this will be the first representative time we'll see. He's backed off, though. Okay, Joe on the softs. Let's see this. Turn 1. DRS enabled, so that is surely the cue for everybody, but Joe goes wide and invalidates. No, that's not what he wanted. And that's going to put more hurt to the Red Bull. Speaking of soft tires, we're seeing Gagi go for another lap. He'll be the first one to show us what those soft tires can do. Obviously, he set that lap 7 seconds slower, but he was not on the push. Now he's on the push, and through turn 1, goes to the yellow curb, shifting up the gears. You see 4th, you see 5th, you see 6th, and now you see 7th up to 8th gear. With DRS enabled, the overtake of battery is down below 70% now. As he hits turn 3, 7/10 of improvement compared to those first laps on softs. Now, on the run to turn 4, how dry is this track? How much can he push? And how much is he banking on not losing the rear? I've seen a lot of drivers lose the rear in Q1, and I've seen it so far throughout this whole weekend. Gagi's got to keep himself clean, and so far he's doing just that. Turn 5 now. And now, what is he going to be at the sector split? 7 seconds up, so this would mean he's going to be ahead of Riles currently for pole. Riles, yet to see pole, has seen the front row before. Gagi is going to knock him off this pole if he can just get to the line so far. Gagi, final 2 corners. 6th gear, 7th, and now down to 4th, up to 5th, and up to the line. What's Gagi going to do in that Alfa Romeo? It's going to be a 6-0. What can Thrasher do? Can Thrasher go better? No! He's a 10th off, and as a reserve, he has to be given the credit because the finalized laps in that Mercedes has made sure that he has had good laps in this car to set himself up for Q3, and it is a chance at pole for him. Next up's an AlphaTauri. That is Kostag coming to the line just now. Kostag, can he change Gagi's pole to a Kostag pole? Kostag is on pole for the first time as of right now. But can Matty Mumu stop that? He cannot. He's invalid. Joe, the Red Bull ring. Can a Red Bull driver go into pole? Red Bull do see pole with Joe. 5-3. That's the best we've seen so far.
I got a message from Lovich. I don't know what it's about, but he said, "Tell Joe I'm sorry." See, I don't know.
Did Rice get back in the session? Just check me in chat.
Yeah, check.
All right. Jab, your championship contender, currently sits second in the championship, 35 points behind. If he sets himself on pole, that would mean it's 34. Can Jab do just that right now? Jab, 5-7, 4/10 off. Chungus invalidated, and we're going to go on board with Matty and Pluto. Pluto is first. Pluto, your championship leader. What can Pluto do? Sorry, he's starting a lap, Pluto is. Never mind. So we'll go on board with his lap then to see what he can do on those soft tires. Your championship leader still again. No change in that. Didn't really hit the inside curb like we've seen a couple other people do at the inside of turn 1, but gets through turn 1 decently. Matty Mumu goes third fastest. 3/10 off pole they are right now from Joe. 6/10 up for Pluto at sector 1. This Haas is projected to be one of the top 4 cars in the straight line. And their sector 1 is going to progress if they can just nail it. And Pluto looks like he's nailing this lap pretty well. However, Joe's gap to Kostag could possibly mean that Pluto would not get pole. Pluto has 100% win pole conversion. The only driver to do so in this league. And Pluto has not started worse than 5th this season. You'd be surprised to hear that he doesn't have a pole. Can he, at the Red Bull ring, take a Red Bull off pole? Pluto, it's the final corner now. He's hooking this up. Can Pluto go pole? No, but he can go just behind Thrasher. That looked like a good lap too. Next up is Riles. Riles is on a lap now. Riles in the Alpine, another car that's really fast in a straight line. One of the top 4 cars. He's improving in Sector 1, 16.3. That type of improvement is needed. Now Riles onto turn 4. DRS enabled, already below 50% on that battery. Not toward the inside curb like we've seen other people do, but Riles is coming through turn 5, 6, and now on the run to the sector split. How important is this lap for Riles? 4 seconds of an improvement. I would still set him 8th, but we can see if this will change. Will Cromack next across the line in that Alpine. What can Will do? Will set himself 5th fastest, but a good effort nonetheless, considering just a couple laps in this car. Riles comes across the line now. Can Riles go pole for the first time? No! But he's behind his teammate.
Pluto does seem to be struggling quite a bit here. Not saying that his lap time's slow, because it isn't even that far behind. I mean, it's just,
you know, the Haas is supposed to be a decent car at this track, especially through the first 2 sectors, I would say. Mainly Sector 1. And not only that, but he's behind his championship rival, a Jab. This would be Pluto's worst qualifying of the season. He's not qualified worse than 5th. And he's not even got a pole either. He's been 2nd through 5th the whole season. But Zhou's gap, the top of the board, is very interesting. And as we see the track getting some patch of sun now, we could see lap times continuing to improve and the track continuing to evolve. Here's Chungus on the final lap though. Enters turn 1. Doesn't clobber the inside curb, but tries to get the exit he needs, shifting up the gears with DRS now. He's the first one to start his final lap, and then you got Will, I believe. Riles. It was one and done for him. He will only qualify best of 7th. How about Chungus going purple through Sector 1? Yet to settle up in this session. Chungus has been 2nd 4 different times and is yet to see pole. Now turn 4 for Chungus. Turn 5 right here, the little kink. Now to turn 6 and that double left, which will see the sector split for him. What's this going to be? Sector time-wise, 45.5. It's decent, but we don't know if it's good enough to be on pole. Now, just clobbering these curbs here through this middle sector. Everybody else is trying to complete laps now. And this is important to knock Zhou off pole. What can Chungus do as he enters the final corner, clobbers that inside curb, goes to the outside curb, and goes to the start-finish line to set himself front row? Not going to be pole for Chungus. Will Cromack is next. And can Will do anything? No, he's starting a lap. Next up is Pluto. Pluto starts a lap as well. Let's go on board with our championship leader. Rasher crossing the line. He's starting a lap as well. Pluto loses the rear. That could be it for Pluto. Making him 10th. Unless he improves. Zhou and Gagi both start laps. Pluto's 2/10 down. This could be possibly the worst qualifying by our championship leader at the time he does not need it at all. This is not the time that Pluto would need it. AlphaTauri, Kostek pits. Next up should be a Williams. That is Jab, who will only be a best of 5th. So for your 2 championship contenders, they won't start any better than 5th. Pluto, a 10th improvement through Sector 2. So that's what he needs to improve. We saw him down in the first sector, but in the middle sector, he's improving. Maddie, front row for him, but can't beat Zhou. But can Pluto find something through the last sector? He invalidates. He will only start 10th. Pluto is gonna qualify the worst he has all season. Next up, Thrasher in the Mercedes. What can Thrasher do? Thrasher improves, but not by much. Can Gagi go faster? Gagi is gonna go 2nd row. But what is Zhou gonna do? He's invalidated. Can Will do something? No, it is invalid. And Zhou, a Red Bull at the Red Bull ring, will take pole by a 10th and a half. Zhou, a 5-3 to set himself up for a 3rd pole. And that now means Zhou has the most poles this season in qualifying. And now, Pluto starts the worst he has all season. That's big.
Surprising.
That's big. That's very big. And that's very crucial for Jeb to start 6th. 4 places ahead of Pluto. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jeb, does not have much of a car here to contend with, neither does Pluto. And Lakovich was right. He called it. Joe pole. And there you go. Red Bull teammate trusting the other Red Bull. And the other Red Bull's got pole. Look at the gap, 10th and a half. I mean, you don't usually see that at this track, but considering this is a pad and a car track, for Maddie to be that close, for Gagi to be that close, that's still really good. Same with Chungus. So that's crucial for their races and their qualifying efforts. Let's go through the running order. Brennan, man, how about that? Joe on top in qualifying. Maddie to his front row. Then you have his brother, Gagi, going to be 3rd. Chungus and Kostag round out the top 5. It is still close behind that between Jeb and Will. Jab ahead of Will. Jab is 6th. And Jab is crucially ahead of Pluto, as I mentioned already. Riles behind his teammate. Thrasher ahead of Pluto. Thrasher is 9th. Pluto 10th. And if the results were to stay like this right now, Pluto would not win the championship today. Pluto needs to outscore Jab by 19 points or more in order to win the championship today. And right now, with the way he's qualified, that does not look like it's going to happen. However, for Haas's sake, if they finish where they do, they still won't beat AlphaTauri in the Constructors' Championship to clinch it today. They need to beat AlphaTauri by 90 points today. They can win it off a tiebreaker. Haas can, I believe. But as for... Well, actually, no, they can't. It's not confirmed unless they win today. But, as for Haas... They need to be more than 90 points ahead, and currently they're 64, and no pole point for anybody else but Red Bull. So that definitely changes the aspect of the championship to 26 points on offer for Jeb and Pluto. So this is where it starts. The drivers are readying up. Drivers are finding their setups and finding where they want to put the fuel, finding what strategy they want to go on. This should be a fun one. What do you think, Brennan, man?
It's going to be very, very fun to watch. Pluto starting 10th. He's going to have to try and make up some places. Because obviously he needs to outscore Jeb by 19 this race, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he's got to make up those places as well.
So, I'll go through 2 favorites. It has to be said the race from Season 1 was not won on the front row, so maybe that's crucial for Gagi on back. But how about Joe? Red Bull to Red Bull Ring. I think it's a good chance for Red Bull to win, and Joe has come 3rd many times before. He's now in his 3rd place finish heading into this race. And it just maybe seems fitting for Red Bull to win at the Red Bull Ring, looking for his first win. I'm going to go with Joseph at the back of the grid, 18th. We saw a 4th place finish last week from 20th from the grid, but as for Joseph, last week's winner, that's the momentum. AlphaTauri is really good, car performance-wise here. That's really good. So all things look to go Honda's way, and I'm picking 2 Honda drivers. Any 2 different drivers you got, Brennan, man?
I feel like I say this every week, but obviously you just can't ignore Pluto. So it may be his worst qualifying position ever, but it's Pluto. He's insanely fast. So you just can't ever ignore Pluto. I reckon he could get a good start, get those positions up really fast. Also, you stole my idea. I was going to go with Joseph on recovery. On recovery for lots of points. Pluto in 2nd. Probably got to be Jab as well. 2 championship rivals. Both in pretty decent positions, both very fast. So it's going to be very close between them 2, I reckon.
Most
also,
definitely.
Just realised, everyone on hards or mediums, other than Chungus on soft.
Chungus, yeah. Jab on hards, Pluto on mediums. That's interesting. We'll have to watch out for that. Here we go. Are all drivers lined up? Yes, they are. Here we go. Here come the 5 red lights. Going to rev it up. No! Oh, the Austrian Grand Prix is underway. Joe gets off the line well, and now Chungus takes advantage of Matty. He's going to be side by side. Matty's brother's ahead. Goggy already ahead into turn 1, and Goggy is going to be on the run to challenge Joe with Chungus in the slipstream. Here's Chungus pulling alongside already. Going to be side by side at turn 3. Now, Kostag on Matty, but side by side for second place in this race. Behind that, there's surely contact somewhere. I think that was an Aston Martin going wide. That was Polo God with Logovic around the outside. And now that's the Ferrari of Aaron Ocon struggling for grip with Surfy trying to overtake him as well. Rowdy's felt positions, and they're all jockeying throughout the midfield, side by side between Jab and Riles. And Pluto already up 2 places from this as well. Kostag challenging Goggy. Goggy staying ahead. Jab also at a Riles, crucially with Pluto behind. Pluto around the outside of Riles. Pluto's got him. And now, Pluto 1 place away from that championship spot with Jab. Joseph and Sam gonna go side by side. They're gonna make contact at the back of the field. Rice Cracker goes ahead from that. And Polo got in Logovic side by side as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, not a good start from Matty. He's in 3 positions right off the bat, but Chungus up 3, already in first.
And that seemed like a struggle this season, but the 2 championship contenders with Jab and Pluto gonna go side by side at a turn 3. Jab lets him through, and that may have been the smarter move long term. Kostag and Goggy gonna go side by side for 3rd place in this race. Kostag ahead. Behind that, Pluto going by Matty. Riles and Jab side by side. Jab gonna hang it around the far outside. Riles getting ahead. And still, by the end of lap 1, we have everybody still in place and still running.
Very good start.
It is a very good start. As we go through the field, both McLarens, it looked like had trouble in the start, both Ferraris, but Chungus, by the way, we missed that. I apologize. He got the lead from Joe there. And already out to a 2-second lead. That's going to happen on the soft, surely. But, yeah, no, everybody's still in good shape. Here comes Thrasher on Jab. And ahead of that, Riles on Matty.
That was not just falling down the order.
Yeah. With Haas being 5th and 6th, that might be 18 points for them. Kostag might be in a place where it's 15 points, but, you know, that's not enough to seal the deal for the constructors. And even Pluto being ahead of Jab. Jab is falling down the order. That is not what Jab needs in this race. It's a complete DRS train all the way from 2nd on back, and Pluto is already taking advantage of Goggy, trying to eat his tires alive and trying to make him go wide. Look at this. Goggy going wide. Now Pluto with the overtake button. He's going to go for 4th already from being 10th on the grid. Look at this. Goggy going wide. Pluto switches it back. Pluto goes ahead. What a move.
What a start from Pluto. 6 positions
Honestly,
in 3 laps.
That is how you win a championship. He would know that from season 1. But you just can't have anything go wrong from here. And that is the most important thing for Pluto to have go his way. Nothing go wrong. You can't have anything go wrong from here. You have to excel. Up 3 places for Chungus, up 6 for Pluto, up 2 for Kostag. And we got yellow flags at the back of the field. It's Sam Steed. Sam Steed around at the final corner. He might. He looked like he was in the barrier. But that is trouble for Sam. Riles on Matty now. Riles in this DRS train. They both got DRS, but Riles got the shoreline speed to try to contend with Matty. Gonna go down the inside in the braking zone. And gonna be side by side on exit. A little bit of traction loss from them. But it is Riles ahead of Matty. Now Jab on Thrasher. Jab is trying to get back at this. Can't do anything of it. Joseph and Surfy. I believe there was a position swap there for a moment. But everything pretty calm, pretty relaxed now that we've gotten to a rhythm, and Sam Steed has not gotten to that rhythm. He's 6 seconds back as Rice picks up our first penalty of this race. He already has a 5 second, so that'll be crucial when it comes to later on. Oh, Matty Mumu spun! From points, he's
That's
around,
not good for
and I
Haas.
believe Will has lost places too. And Thrasher may have been in that collision too because he's trying to get to the pit lane. Even Lojovic up places too from the start. Will going side by side now into turn 1. Logovic lets him go. Avoids contact. Joseph also up places. He's up 7. Here's Pluto for 3rd place now. Kostag is Position swaps right there. Oh, and Kostek hits Pluto around! Oh my goodness!
Pluto will be
The
happy.
two people who've battled for time and time again, even with 3 races to go last season, the two collided with 3 races to go this season. They collide again!
It's how it happens. They push each other hard.
They do. And that is the end result. Pluto down to 5th. And, you know, he could have extended that lead if the race were to end right now on Jeb, but that goes from 15 points for Pluto down to 10. And now Kosteg's down places. Kosteg spins! Did he get help from Gagi? That'll be a question surely asked. I couldn't tell who was close to who. As for 3rd place, we got Gagi ahead of Pluto, and Pluto trying to challenge Gagi and attack him into turn 1. Now he's going to back off of it. And Lojvik as well. A penalty. That is 2 track limit penalties for drivers now. 1 on a Ferrari, 1 on a Red Bull. So being the fastest car, you want to push as much as you can, but that results in penalties sometimes as Pluto goes through again for 3rd place in this race, and Gagi avoids hitting him, luckily. Those two made contact last week, so I'm sure Gagi wanted to avoid that this time. Gagi's going to try to fight this back, it looks like, but can't overtake him. Surfy alongside Joseph now. Surfy may have had a bad traction out of turn 3, and now that's allowed Joseph to go around the outside. Surfy goes deep, but Joseph switches back, and that's going to allow Joseph through here for 10th place. He's up into the points already from the back of the grid. Behind that, you got Rowdy and Rice Cracker. Rice Cracker's off. And that has put some gravel onto the racetrack, and he's right into the path of Matty Mumu right there as he comes back onto the track. Yeah, unfortunate for some people who've got involved in collisions already. Thrasher looked like he had a good qualifying. Rice was recovering from that. Matty was up there. And even Kostag, he's down to 15th from all that too. So usually it's an easy, medium, hard, but Chungus being on the softs, I'll be honest, I really don't know what he's expecting here in this race. I really don't. But there you have it. Polo God also right near Lojvik as well for 7th and 8th place. There was almost contact between somebody up there around that area. I don't think it was them two, but somebody. And here's Will and Lojvik. That's who it was. Will going by now. A little late on the brakes, but he's got through. He's clear of him. And Lojvik is still trying to fight this back. And you could see with those soft tires, by the way, unless it was a mistake from Chungus, Chungus has now had Joe closing that gap, and Joe is just continuing and continuing and continuing to feed right into Chungus, and now has got the DRS. So something may have caused a mistake. Chungus could have done it on his own. Joe could have just straight up caught him from the soft tires wearing and wearing and wearing. We'll have to see. You know, is Chungus thinking of going soft to hards? That could be a big question on why he started on softs. However, here's the race lead right now. Joe electing to go to the right side. Chungus gonna back off for DRS. Joe gonna hang here on the inside. There you go. Position swap right there. Here's Lojvik in the grass alongside Will Cromack. And he goes wide. He's gonna go off at turn 3. How's he gonna re-enter though? Re-enters right next to the wall. I think he does it safely. And now gets passed by Joseph Surfy, and it will be Lando. And next up could be Aaron Ocon. Aaron Ocon going through, just barely. Now Blue Goggy and Riles. There you go, yeah, 4th place.
Riles, he's doing a lot of DRS. He's only on 10%.
And that's surprising from Riles. Usually we know him to save DRS, but, you know, I guess that's what he's needed to do in order to contend at the front. Impressive.
Yeah, that's the lowest out of everyone.
You know, exclude, I think, last week at France, where Riles was sick and had to retire early. We got yellow flags, by the way. That's Rice Cracker around and into the barrier. He may have picked up rear wing damage. But Chungus pits from the lead, by the way. No, as for Riles, exclude last week where he was sick, had to retire early. The last 2 to 3 races have been incredible for him pace-wise. We are finally seeing what he can do. And with his finish last week, he now has 2 more places to finish in all 20 spots on the grid. 3rd and 20th. So that could be the day to do 3rd, I think, for Riles. But the way he's going right now. Mediums for him and Pluto, and technically, if you consider only the medium runners, he's net leader. Or net P2, sorry. Joseph on Will Cromack. 7th place now. to the inside to turn 4. Will, hanging around the outside, has to get a little bit wide there in order to try to keep it side by side, but he doesn't. He has to back off of that.
It's been an amazing recovery for Joseph.
I know.
Oh,
7th place, you
seven.
can see how strong his car is. I know. It's incredible.
Guess we both had the right
And,
idea.
you know-
Just say Joseph.
I know, right? I must say with Riles, though, I know he's just, a second behind Pluto for a moment, trying to use overtake to get back into the URS. Don't think he may do so. He might have just barely got it. He did. But the thing from Riles is we've seen some amazing performances recently, pace-wise. Before that, he was barely inside the points and barely contending for points. He was out of qualifying most times, and he's got through to Q3 on the last couple of appearances. It's amazing to see. And good for him, honestly. He needs that momentum. And we like to see when Riles is running up the front, especially after what happened last season in Bahrain. Race Cracker, a 3-second time penalty, and Polar, Surfy spins around. He's in the wall. And that might have picked up some front wing for him. Did the barrier pick up front wing?
I can't tell if this is a game glitch, because I don't see any, but surely.
No, I don't. I don't either. But I think in qualifying we saw damage from somebody else. So I
Yeah, I
don't
did
know.
see that.
Not sure.
I don't know.
Rowdy TJ Boy, rain in 10 to 15 minutes. How the tables have turned. This could change the outcome of the race, especially with Pluto being on the mediums, Jab being on the hards. If it is inners for a long enough time, Jab can extend as long as he wants, where Pluto is still having to go hards. That could definitely change the outcome of the race, and it really depends on if we get a safety car, if that's the case too.
Riles is just hanging in there for the DRS.
He's having to use his overtake to do that, and that's what's
Another
complicated for him too.
Riles.
Yeah, it's not good for his race. He's now on, what, 9 seconds of penalties? Yeah, there you go. A pit stop around here is 18 seconds, so I must say, if you're the top 14, you're within that gap that you need to be. So there you go. Chunga's trying to recover. He's alongside Surfy. He goes through. Easy move for him. And how about Lando? Lando very quiet too. Lando's in the points. He started back there as well. 13th, I think it was. Quietly getting his way up into the points. I know he always talks about getting pushed around and race with no respect, but I think today, so far, it's been clean. But, I might have just jinxed it. Will Cromack, 3-second time penalty. He's 8th place right now in this race, but, I think being in the Alpine, it may be expected considering he's usually running the Merc, but, it could be a good test for him. It could be a good test with him running the Alpine. I like to see that because it really shows if the Merc was a big struggle for him or not. So, there you go.
Riles.
Jab, Goggy, DRS or Riles.
Yeah, Riles is now at DRS.
Oh.
He's going to be under a lot of pressure from Goggy. He's
Ooh,
right
he goes
there.
wide at turn 3, yeah. And that could be the difference for this podium spot as of right now. Here's Goggy trying to contend. Riles trying to protect this one, but he might not have to protect it for much longer with the way this is going. And Riles just continuing to back them up again. If he continues to do this, though, you saw this put Polo in the mix. It will put Joseph and everybody else all the way back to 12th with his DRS train in the mix if they continue to catch. And if what Rowdy said about rain in 10 to 15 is true, then that could be definitely a big precedent and big way of deciding this race. You look at Pluto on mediums, you look at Riles on mediums, look at Joe, Goggy, and Jab. That'd be the top 3 under hards right now. And Polo got there to follow. That could be a big game changer for this race. Why is that? Well, Pluto and Riles have to pit anywhere in the next 8 laps. Depends how much they can extend with how they have their tires worn or whatever the case is, but as of right now, Ludwig and Aaron trade places, and now Lando and Will, but as you look at somebody like Pluto and Riles on medium tires different than the hards, those mediums almost ensure they have to pit earlier, where the hards do not. Hards can extend, and Goggy can extend himself around the outside this time. Side by side, there's contact, and luckily, they don't go on the wall. And now going to be side by side at turn 6. Goggy backs out of that one. A little smart move from Goggy, and I must say, he's learning slowly but surely. He's learning on when to make the moves and when not to. Smart move from him. I think old Goggy would have not backed out of that one.
This has been a very clean race so far. No DNFs.
I know. Keep it going. I'm loving it. No one's giving up. Here's Goggy on the back of Riles. We got yellow flags. That's Surfy once again. Here's Goggy trying to contend with Riles still. But these hard runners with Goggy on back and your race leader, Joe, if the rain does come in 10 to 15 minutes, it's a crucial point for them to go as long as they can. Here's Goggy run the outside once again. And here's Goggy. Not going to get the DRS, but Riles is for like the first time in 5 laps. Here's Goggy, though. Still trying to pull it around the outside. Riles opens the rear wing. Can he recover? He's got a lot of straight line speed. Here he comes to the right side. He has the inside line for turn 4. Goggy around the outside this time at turn 4. Again, Riles excels on the inside line. And here's Jab. Jab looking to stick his front wing in this one. Around the outside. Can't make anything of it. Polo God still has to wait in the wings. And Polo God, if there's a crash that happens, he would be right in the mix of it. I would be a little bit worried if I was him. And, you know, as I say that, 2.4. Right when I was talking about Joseph earlier. You know, if they continue to battle like this, if there's mistakes, whatever there is, Joseph will catch up. A couple laps ago, it was 3.6. Now it's 2.4. So, you know, he'll bring that train right with him. But Lando has excelled a little bit away from that train. He's pushed it back. And that's allowed Matty Moo to get back in it, too. Logovic, 3-second time penalty again. This train as well from third on back, though. Losing time to Pluto, of course. They originally were about 1 second behind until Riles lost DRS. Now they're almost 3 seconds. Here's Goggy again to the left side. He's lets off for DRS, though. That was a smart move because he knows the Alpine is a lot more straight line speed, but he's going to hang around the outside this time, and that is beautifully executed if he can pull this off. DRS enabled, DRS engaged, and here he comes on the run to turn 4. He's got it. Around the outside, second man in the championship. Gonna be side by side with Riles. Jab goes through, so Riles gets past 2 and 1. Kostag and Aaron now back of this. You got Aaron and Kostag. Oh, that was close. And by the way, Matty made a mistake right there, getting passed by Chungus, getting passed by Ludwig, getting passed by Rowdy. Something happened to him. Can't tell if he has damage. No, he doesn't. But luckily, he's good. Riles pitting on the mediums. This may mean we see Pluto come in soon. And you know, if there is actually rain in 10 to 15, Pluto will be extending as much as he can.
But talking about mistakes, Joe has just got a 3-second penalty.
Very important to this race. Very important. Pluto's within 3 seconds now. Here's Jab on Goggy. This is important to catch Pluto in this race. Jab has gone from 5th place all the way to 3rd. Well, really 6th if you want to include Riles being in this mix, but he's passed Goggy. He's passed Riles, up to 3rd. This is what he needed to try to catch Pluto. And now, the damage is kind of being limited now as we head into Japan. You know,
Surfy
we have a spinner again. That's Surfy, a 3-second penalty, right in front of the pit lane. So he has to make sure he doesn't block it. However, Aaron Ocon is going side by side again with Kostag. Aaron still has to stick behind him, though. This is for a points position. Ooh. Kostag gets punted around. And that's right in the path of Ludwig, allowing Chungus to go through. And
Pluto comes into the
first time we've
pits.
seen this whole race. There you go. And we see Chungus trying to get by Aaron too, cause that collision. Yeah, Aaron's struggling. Now let's watch where Pluto comes out compared to Riles. That is going to be an important aspect of this race. We still have a battle with Chungus and Aaron, by the way. 8th place. Chungus having to stay behind him, but here's Pluto coming out of the pit lane now. Riles at the back of this train. What difference is that going to be as we see Chungus and Aaron going side by side down on the run to turn 2 and turn 3. Pluto out of the pit lane. Riles, though, is still going to be behind him, surely. But by how much? Matty by Rowdy. Rowdy trying to come back on Matty. More yellow flags. That is Surfy again, by the way.
Surfy seems to be struggling massively.
Rowdy can't come back on him. And yeah, the gap with Riles and Pluto now after he got passed. It's 5 seconds. That's a 5-second gap. Make sure we take note of that. Joseph has now got a 3-second. Your leader stays out. And I'm sure the rest will too. Surfy is now retired in the pit lane. That's our first retirement.
Pluto is right behind Kostag. Last time they battled did not end well.
Oh, let's go to this then. These two have history, and so does Sam and Kostag, who run near each other too. Kostag still stayed out. Lugovic, another time penalty. Here's Pluto again. How much of a pain is Kostag going to be after the first time? Is he going to let him through easily? Is he going to continue to battle him hard like we always see?
No,
This can
Kostag,
make a
he's
big
gonna
difference
battle
between him and Riles. We got yellow flags up in front of that. That's Surfy's AI car, by the way. But here's Pluto on Kostag to the left side. Gets through easily that time. Is Kostag going to fight this back, though? He almost hits Pluto that time again! Oh my god. Riles being stuck on the back of Sam doesn't help either, but at least helps him give him DRS. 5 seconds that gap is, so where Pluto comes out could be crucial if Pluto wins this race or not. Well, Pluto, where Pluto has come out compared to Riles, really. That's what I should say. Because Riles is got by Sam, and Sam's trying to come back at this, but where Riles came out, it was about a second slower than what he was the first time. So that could be due to how he entered the pits, maybe? Rowdy, 5 minutes until rain. Rowdy, race! You're racing! Stop chatting! The heck?
Just trying to help you out,
Like
man.
me from... I know, I like it. Don't get me wrong. But, I kind of like when it's a mystery, too. And, that this mystery may allow the top 7 runners to really extend as much as they can, like I said the first time, but not only that... Oh my god. He's what? 17?
Yeah, 17, got 12 seconds.
So, that doesn't hurt him too badly when it comes to finishing position. So that's, again, not too bad when it comes to damage. But as for the top 7, like I mentioned, hards, how long? 20-something laps probably. Their hards are going to be wearing soon, but considering when the rain comes, that could definitely make the big difference. And are we seeing rain already? Are we?
I think we're seeing.
No, I thought I saw someone on the SMR and Halo, but I didn't.
Also, that brief battle between Kostag and Pluto. Kostag is already behind by 2 seconds. It was a very short battle.
That's big. I can't tell if it's raining. It just looks like it's raining under the Halo, but it's not.
Might just be like a sort of visual glitch,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm wondering.
Pluto's right behind Rowdy now.
So, Pluto versus Weatherman. How's this gonna go? Little locks up into turn 1, but yep. Rowdy goes wide, allows Pluto through. Lugovic with another time penalty. Will trying to catch up to Joseph. Will also having a hungry amount of cars behind him. This whole race they've been on a train. Lando trying to gain, can't do anything about it. Chungus also on the mediums too. Well, considering he started on the soft side, I think the strategy he's gone with kind of helps him, but maybe doesn't. I don't know. Sam, Rice, side by side. Oh, that gets tight. Is Sam going to try to recover this down the straight into turn 4? Is Sam going to go for the move? Rice defends, and will stay ahead. However, let's go back to second place in this race, because when they pit, that could be a crucial meaning to this race. They all stay out still. And this could mean, if Pluto's messed up his strategy big enough for when this rain comes, if it's enough for intermediates, that could mean that Polo God could set himself up for a podium, let alone Goggy. He's currently on the podium, Goggy is. And Polo God, just challenging. That's what he wants to do for this podium. And he's just right there now. He's right in the back of Goggy, and Goggy right in the back of Jab now. That's the difference. And Kostag finally pits in this race. Chungus ahead of Holando. Chungus on those newer medium tires, but older medium tires compared to some, is ahead. Now Goggy goes ahead of Jab. Goggy up to second place in this race, but this battling is going to continue to hurt their gap to Joe. Even though Joe, that 3-second time penalty, doesn't matter, does it not? We'll find out when he pits, and even when the rain comes. No rain yet, but anytime soon that rain should be here, considering what we heard moments ago. Aaron Ocon picks up a usual race time penalty. And speaking of the gaps, it is an 18-second gap to the leader that you need in order to pit. We got yellow flags, by the way, which is Rice Cracker. He spun around at turn 6, sorry. And that's trouble more to his race, and he's losing the rear again. But as for the gap, Pluto and Joe, 18 seconds. Keep that in mind. Polo God backs off again for the DRS to let Jab and Goggy battle. Might be what he needs. Will in the back of Chungus. We've got more yellow flags. That's Rice Cracker again. Lando trying to get a will again. Can't do anything from that. Logjevic, 3-second time penalty once again.
We can have to start a prediction for how many penalties Logovic gets.
Good idea. 18 seconds now. Don't get disqualified.
Oh god.
That'll go on your record.
Also, I found out what happened with Surfy. It turns out he might have had rear wing damage.
Ah.
Because every
well, that
single
makes
time
sense
he
as
was
why
trying
did
to
it.
turn, he kept spinning. Oh, talking about spinning.
Joseph! Making a mistake, that's right. You talked about mistakes, and I hope that one didn't cause rear wing damage, but luckily, still going in a good direction, because he's still in this DRS train. He was funny because he was at the start of this DRS train, now he's just right at the back of it. You know, if I could spin like that, I'd be happy.
Not too
Oh,
bad.
man.
Loss, but still a
9.5
loss.
now. Yeah, it is. And now that has put Maddie right to the back of him, too. And it is starting to rain, I think. Is it? Looks like it is. It's getting more...
It's getting
more
very
cloudier,
dark,
but I can't
don't
tell.
see any rain.
I know. And this means these hard runners are going to continue to extend as long as they can, just like France. Sam Steed, Logjevic, position swap, 7-0 for Kostek. That's the fastest lap. Sam Steed goes out of Logjevic. Position swap right there. I thought I saw rain. I keep thinking I see rain on these halos, but I don't. It's just the reflection from the top of the screen. And like I said, that gap between Joe and Pluto, 17.6. If Joe pits right now, and he ends up doing his daily pit stop without the rain being here, let's say it does not rain, and it's not enough for inners, Pluto wins this race automatically over Joe. However, if they have to pit for inners, then Pluto's stuck where he's at, and he can only get positions off penalties, meaning Jab puts himself almost within a race of Pluto. If not within a race of Pluto. Scary to think about, scary to comprehend, but we could have a championship going to Japan. And as for Pluto's championship's similar to Max Verstappen, right? Well, Pluto won that championship last season, season 1. His first championship was won at the season finale. Max Verstappen's championship won at the season finale. Logjevic, pits, on the softs. But Pluto's championship could be won in Japan. Max Verstappen won the championship in Japan. So are we seeing a little bit of difference to these two? There we go. Yup, you could see it on the halos a little bit. Here it comes.
Oh, it's starting to come fast already.
Intermediates. Yeah. Could Joe? No, he can't. He can't pit the lap. The others could, though. Because they're toward the pit lane and Joe is not. So if they pit a lap earlier, could that be crucial? Who gambles? Who doesn't? Nobody as of yet. No, nobody's gambling.
Oh,
And
this
Pluto's
DRS
now caught the
train.
back of the DRS train.
Look at Pluto. Yeah, DRS train's
Great,
all the way in the
yeah.
back of it now.
There you go. So how much wear is on Joe's tires considering how Pluto has gained? Look at Polo on the back of Jab. 6/10 the Goggy Jab is. This could be crucial for a podium, which Polo would want.
Maybe let him put it past.
He would lovely want. Yeah, there you go. Position swap there between the Haas teammates. Luckily doing so, almost almost right in the back of him. And Pluto can't get away from that AlphaTauri. This time it's Joseph, not Kostag, luckily. So if you're Joe, even though you got this big lead, I know the track's not fully wet. Do you risk pitting this lap though? Sam Sita enters. He could be testing it for Joe. Thrasher enters the pit lane.
Joe stays out.
Joe stays out. Yeah, the track. If the track gets wet enough here, you know they're going to be on the radio to pit soon enough because it's going to get wet. Probably at a time where Joe can no longer hit the pit lane, where these guys can. How about Will Cromack betting quickly on pitting? This could pay a big difference in this DRS train. He does not speed, luckily, but if this track continues to get wet, could see a big difference. Chungus catching the back of Polo, catching the back of Jab. He's now in DRS. Here's Polo God. Pulling alongside Jab for third place. Side by side. Won't be wheel to wheel and exit if Polo can cut in front of him, and he does. Aaron goes by Lando side by side. He pushes him onto the curb. And that's allowed Pluto to go through 2 and 1.
Joe's just coming past as well.
Lando gets hit off. Here's Joseph. There you go.
Oh,
Aaron goes
Allen
wide. Now Pluto gets a gifted 6th place. That was really lucky that He was just put in the right circumstance, right time.
Chunky's bad Logovic. I think he's actually getting DRS
DRS disabled and Joe
Oh,
can
he's
hit the
going
pit lane.
past the
Look
pit.
at this. Look at this. I said how likely this is. Look at this. They're all entering the pit lane now. There you go. Chunga stays out. Pluto stays out. Oh boy. How could this change things just like France? Where Jab pitted and Pluto didn't. Jab pits earlier than everybody. Well, Jab pits earlier than Pluto did. And so does everybody else. Inners, they all go. Maddie pits for inners.
I wonder why Pluto stayed out.
Will
and why
Cromack
Maddie went in.
will pass a couple people out of the pit lane, but how many? Can he pass Jab on exit? No, but he's gonna be ahead of Joseph. So that is crucial to get up to Jab. Now Chungus lets Pluto go, but it's gonna be side by side. They're touching wheels.
It's close.
Pluto ahead. And on those 18-lap mediums, Chungus will surely have to pit this lap. And this could be big dividend for Joe. Joe pitting this time.
Joe's in.
And that could shrink his lead down, but might not be a whole lot. So, lucky enough that he had a 10-second lead. Aaron surely will pit. Chungus surely gonna pit. Pluto pitting.
Pluto's coming in. First, Aaron. Yep.
Aaron will too.
That's
So
pretty much everyone on
Goggy, it is up to him to catch Joe, and he will be on the net podium. Joe exits the pit lane now. That's how big of a lead he has. You know, what's with this, like, prediction? You know, I mean, I said in the journalist notes, Joe's going to win. Joe's leading right now. Last week, I said Joseph's going to win. Joseph won. You know, it's just something about these races. I could just sort of see it before it comes. And now it's happened. Polo got ahead of Jab, and now Pluto behind Jab. And we have a spinner! That's Joseph! Is he out of this race? No, sorry, that's Kostag! Kostag disqualified!
Oh!
And he is now out of the championship. He will no longer enter Japan with a chance, and that is it for him. Unbelievable.
That is right.
I've seen that happen to me before. The very start of this game cycle, and that has still not been fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
No, definitely not. Joe, lucky enough, can just cruise from here with that 3-second time penalty.
Joe's pretty much just kept the same gap from before everyone pitted anyway.
Yeah. And I'm surprised about that because surely I thought Polo got out of this race! Oh, from a podium spot! Will this bring out a safety car? No, it will not! Jab! Now up to the podium places! Oh my god! Big implications toward Polo God's chances for a podium this season and or the championship. Wow. Kostag mentions he can't get a break. Very unlucky that he was disqualified.
Second, he gets DSQ'd and Ryan just says skew issue.
Aaron Ocon, another time penalty. Here's Matty Mumu on Joseph, down the inside. Will they touch wheels? No, they don't. Luckily, these two, the Haas and the AlphaTauri, keep it clean. Well, Cromack, Chungus also within a second. And now Pluto's just hoping to catch Jab, and Jab trying to catch Goggy. If Jab passes Goggy, that's 18 to 10, or sorry, 18 to 12 in the points, meaning there's a 29-point gap between Jab and Pluto. However, luckily for Kostag, he had the fastest lap. So no one else can take that from him. At least I don't think, unless you glitch the game. You know, so I doubt that would.
Unless it somehow goes to dry by the end.
Well, that's very true too. That could very well happen. Joe can cruise from here. We know that. Well, Cromack is spun at the pit entrance, and he's got broken front wing. He's now having trouble getting back going. And that means his chance at points is possibly over in his first start for Alpine. Matty Mumu is now getting on Joseph. The gap between Jab and Goggy is close too, but here's Matty on Joseph. On the day where Haas can still win the Constructors' Championship, you know, Kostag's disqualification almost guarantees they have a better chance, but do they do it? 20 points they have right now over Joseph with 6. Coming into this race,
Jab right on the
Jab
back
on
of
Goggy,
Goggy.
jab! Oh, this is
Oh.
important. Jab, trying to push wide, trying to get the
Keep it clean.
exit,
Oh,
side by
blue,
side.
blue, blue.
Jab, can he stay ahead? Can he go ahead? Goggy under the curb, jab around the outside, luckily does it without contact. Incredible. As for Haas though, 12 plus the 8, that's 20 for them. 20 points.
Jab loses the end.
Oh, and here's Pluto within touching distance. Here's Goggy around the left side. Can't do anything. As for the constructors, like I mentioned, 64 points into this race. They need 90. They would not do it. Pluto's trying to do it by gaining positions. Here we go. Goggy defends, but Pluto to the inside. This is for a podium for Pluto, trying to recover the damage he did by starting on the mediums compared to these guys in the hards. Makes a bit of contact, touches his front wheel, but he's ahead. Goggy knocked off the podium in what could have been a first today, but still could be at the end of this race. May I say, Joe's gap 10 seconds even without the penalty, or even with the penalty. Damage limitation for Pluto. I thought that gap could have been within a race 27 points, but it's now at 32 points between those two.
I think it's pretty much safe to say, unless something shocking happens, I think Joe has this in the bag. BBR Joe, I think he has it in the bag for the win.
That's a fair point, you must say. And we just gotta hope a safety car doesn't come out for his sake too. I would love them to just spin it around and then win the race. Spin and win.
Yeah.
Don't get damaged, you know. Out of the final corner, you know. Or just do a Max Verstappen from real life race here.
Has
last
lost
year.
that time that he gained to Jab. He was very close to him, but that's second behind.
Yeah, I say Matty's doing a good job limiting the damage too, because he had trouble at the early stages of this race, and now has got himself up to net P5 with Chungus' penalty, and Lando Norris too. P7 off that penalty with Joseph. You know, certain drivers who've had trouble today, certain drivers who've just been right there, just trying to limit the damage the best they can. And even Rowdy too, with Aaron Ocon colliding earlier with Lando. He's got 9 seconds, could get more. Will Cromack in front of that could allow Rowdy to take a point. Just Goggy's still looking for that podium. Polo got crashed out, still looking for that podium for this season. He's got a podium every season, Polo has, but you know, he comes to 2 tracks where it's been debatable for him. He's got to get to the finale at Abu Dhabi or rely on some shithousery at Japan, because he mentioned last game that he would never ever touch Japan again. We'll see if he lives up to that promise or not. And I would hope he doesn't live up to that promise, because I'd love to see him race next week. Even if it's in a wet track at Japan, that'd be nice. So, you know, even in this race, even next week, you know, one of the last chances for a wet race, we're seeing the inners being used. We're seeing the wet ending. We're seeing the difference it made for these guys. The difference it made for Jab to currently be on the podium. Pluto to follow him up there. That's what Pluto needs in order to keep this championship lead. And Rowdy needs to try to keep that overtake on to get 11th place in this race on Will. After Will crashed at one point, Will's been put back there. Will's been pretty well, but he's never raced his car in the wet. And he's got no front wing either. I didn't realize that till now. So Rowdy pulling alongside, gonna go side by side. Oh, he's gonna switch this back to the inside. How about that?
Yeah, able to.
It might be an easy move with the front wing, but I must say, it was hard to judge where Will was going there, so impressive from Rowdy to still keep this going. Around the outside, he will do it. And you said how much that Pluto was losing to Jab. Yeah, 2 seconds behind almost now, and now Goggy, it is his chance to gain on Pluto. You know, that's not one thing Pluto's going to want to see. Pluto does not want to see Goggy pass him. And I know Goggy's going to want to for that first podium. He's hungry. He wants it. But, you know, is it too little too late, or can he still get there? And can Matty say something about that too? Because Matty is 6th and is watching his brother right up there. You look at that, on board with him. He's watching his brother right there go up and attack Pluto. And Matty and Pluto being teammates. And are we seeing trouble from Joe? Because I know Joe is probably taking it easier. Yes, that may be a difference, but he's lost a second this last lap. Yes, 12 seconds in front might not make a difference, but if he somehow has the gap down to 3 seconds, that could mean Jeb could win this race. And that could be important for the championship gap, if that ends up happening. Who knows? Just putting that out there.
Possible, but highly unlikely.
Very. 2.6 now with Jeb and Pluto. Look at that. Goggy spins! Oh no! That's a podium potential gone!
How did that happen?
Oh! He just auto-spun on that curb. On the day where he could have seen his best result, he's now on the wall. Oh, Aaron luckily avoids him.
I'd literally just changed like Pluto's perspective, and all of a sudden he spins.
Aaron as well! Traction loss. Similar to his last lap in France. He has to let Goggy go there, but wow. Unfortunate for him. He's going to have to try to trumble it back for points. Sam Steed, corner cutting penalty. Oh, okay then. All right. We see Joe about to come out on the final lap. I was wondering if he was giving Joe some DRS or not. Well, actually, no, there's no DRS. Never mind. Never mind. Ignore me. My brain hurts.
You good?
No, I'm not. I'm not good. I saw Goggy spin and then I've lost it ever since. So, it's okay. I was gonna say, oh yeah, he's gonna give him DRS. Yeah, it's in wet conditions. What? So, although Goggy's spinning, it does help Pluto at least try to get home for a third place finish on the podium to limit the damage that had been done from earlier in the race. I think he could have beat Jab today, but lucky enough that he's only 32 points behind you now. Last lap for Joe. You know, it's been an incredible performance from Joe. I must say, a Red Bull winning at the Red Bull Ring just seemed fit enough to happen, and it could be. If he can just navigate his way through the final parts of Sector 2 and Sector 3.
Oh, another 3-second Vlogovic. He really wants to. He wants to see just how close he can get to DSQ.
Matty behind Chungus as well. We got more yellow flags.
Who's that?
Final sector.
Sam.
Speaking of the final sector, Joe's coming into the final sector. Red Bull, as a Red Bull Ring. 10 different winners this season now, I believe you can say. Joe, a Red Bull, is going to win at the Red Bull Ring in an amazing fashion. Joe wins for the first time. Another first-time winner. That's the third in a row. Joe sees the flag first to finally win after 4 third-place finishes. Jab comes home second. Pluto is third. Luckily, on a day where we can limit the damage done in the championship from him and Jab, the gap is now 32 points into Japan. And Maddie to Chungus to Lando with 6th. Riles, Joseph, Aaron, and Goggy's crashed, meaning Rowdy TJ Boy could possibly get him at the line, and he does! Ooh. Make that 10 different winners. Make that 10 with Joe.
That was close. If nothing changes from Penn, so that was 27 points from the Haas team and 4 from Joseph. That was close.
And that means that Haas have to wait, I believe, till Japan to see the constructors.
Spin around the finish.
64 points that was? You said, what was the gap, 24?
The Haas team got 27 points today.
7. Okay.
And then
Joseph got
4.
23. They'll halfway to Japan. And
yeah, and wasn't it Haas had to outscore AlphaTauri by 27?
87. 87 points the gap is. It needed to be 90 or more. But that means Haas can win it on a tiebreaker now, though. So, that's good for them. Williams, they're knocked out of championship contention, so Red Bull, no constructors, but a Red Bull winning at the Red Bull Ring. With QBR 20 Joe, he's your race winner. And 10 different winners this season now. We are now on to the 8th first-time winner. I was struggling to get that out of my mouth, but, it's okay. Williams see another podium with Jab. Haas see another podium with Pluto. From 10th on the grid, too. His worst qualifying of the season. That surely will not go unnoticed. Joe, a win from pole. And Goggy, what could have been points, too, also finishes in the 11th spot. Rasher, Rice. Lap down at the end of this race. But there you have it. This is the second largest gap, I believe, in URS history for results when it comes to first and second. Just going to get Jab another invite, and then we'll get started. Welcome along. Now we've all gone silent. that bad of a race or what? We've all gone silent. No, so we'll start with our third place finisher, Pluto. Pluto, you know, we started out talking about how this was your worst qualifying of the season, and you know, you chose to start on the mediums, I believe. I don't know if the game did that for you. You chose to, but regardless, you start on the mediums. You and Riles both did, and considering there was rain in the race, you had to recover that to try to catch Jab, and you did just that by finishing on the podium. What was the race like today, and how much were you pushing to try to get Jab for second place, or was it just limiting the damage in order to finish third to have that gap be at 32 points?
Well, we'll start from qualifying, shall we? My first run in Q3, I accidentally had 20% worn softs, so that's what my actual time was.
Oh.
And my second one, I made a huge mistake in turn one, and then I couldn't recover, and I tried to push it a bit too much to recover and invalidated. But that lap was that bad; it would have only put me 8th anyway, so not really any different. So for the race, I took a load of wing off. I was running much less than what I would have been in a race usually, and it really, really worked in the first stint. I was having a lot of fun on those mediums, and of course, the one time in this league that I choose to start on mediums, random rain comes out of nowhere. There wasn't any rain forecast in the race, which is awful, and then it rains, which is a shame because I think I could have easily had P2 or even beat Joe with a one stop, which it should have been. But yeah, I just couldn't keep up in the rain because my setup was way too slippery. But I did my best.
Yeah, I mean, we head to Japan next week, and the gap is 32 points. Jab needs to outscore you by 5 or more points in order to keep himself in contention. After that, you know, I mentioned a stat to Burning Man, and, you know, we said how season one, the last time you won a championship, you won it at the season finale. Max Verstappen won it at the season finale when he won his first, and he won at Japan with the championship. You're going into Japan, having a chance to win the championship. As for that aspect, do you think it could be won next week?
Well, judging by the fact that I am not Max Verstappen, I don't think so. But yeah, it'd be nice if I can, because then it'd take the pressure off for Abu Dhabi. I really want to be able to enjoy Abu Dhabi. The racing there's so fun. If they've fixed the track limits thing that was at the start of the game, yeah, I really want to be able to enjoy Abu Dhabi. So it'd be best if I get it done in Japan.
As for my last question I have to ask, earlier in the race you had contact with Kostag. I'm pretty sure you're usually in parties with Kostag for races. How did that go over, and do you feel like that could have made the difference in you getting P2 or not by the gap you had toward the end?
I don't think it would have made a difference. The only difference it would have been is I would have been ahead of Kostag when I came out on hards, because I only lost a couple seconds. It didn't really take me that long to get back past Goggy, because I just ERS past him. Yeah, I would have been in free air to start my hard stint, but I still would have had to catch that Matty Joseph train anyway. So it didn't really make much of a difference.
Congratulations on another podium. Burning Man, any questions?
No, because you stole my question about Kostag.
I knew you were going to ask it. I was like, you were mentioning that the whole time when they got back to each other, and I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. And it almost was, but yeah no.
Yeah, but,
Congrats. 32 points as well. And enjoy the F1 race later on, too.
Will do.
Second place now for Jab. Burning Man, give a go at him.
Right, so obviously, hell of a race. How do you feel about how it all went?
Well, I started on the hards, dropped back at the start, just kind of letting the medium runners just do their thing. Then got past, Goggy and I don't know, the hard tires. Like once they started dying, I don't know what happened to the car, but I just kept going wide into turn 3. I literally couldn't do it anymore, and at the end of the stint, I was really struggling. But then obviously went to the inters, and all I had to do was just survive. And this man Bernie, not Bernie man, but goddamn Joe. I don't know how he was so far ahead. Like I come out the pits, I see he's like 11 seconds start, like where's far ahead. So I don't know. He's on rails today, but other than that, it was fun. Struggled a little bit, but we came P2.
Were you at all prepared for the rain, or were you also in the dark about rain, like Pluto?
Um, well, you see, obviously the forecast said it was just gonna be cloudy, and then I was just we were just driving. Then I hear rain like 10 to 15, and at first I thought I was lying. I thought it was gonna come at the end, like after the race ended. But that ended up not being the case. I just decided to just stay out, and those first couple laps I was struggling, but then once I got used to it, 'cause I wasn't really prepared. But once I got used to it, it was fine.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Ryan, you got anything that might not
I
have
do.
mentioned?
Yeah, Jab, 32 points in Japan. I mean, you brought the gap down a little bit, but I have to ask this, and I sort of
Oh
wonder.
no.
Japan, 32 points. It seemed like a good track for you in the past, but this is a completely different aspect to the way you've ran Japan before. You're in a realistic league. You're in a league that you are at a disadvantage with the car you're in. Does that make it different for how you try to attack Pluto and how you maybe put more effort into this race in order to close that gap down? Or do you think the gap is just too far, too late?
Well, obviously I'm gonna need me a George Russell or a Leclerc, to happen to hit Pluto. But obviously the straight line speed of the Williams down back straight in the main straight will hurt me. And obviously the lack of downforce in general will hurt in the first sector. But we just have to wait and see. Maybe I get some luck. Maybe Pluto bends into a wall. And I got a VSC at Spain. Maybe I can get one at Japan.
And my last question for you is about the qualifyings recently. Pluto qualified 10th today, you qualified 6th. I know qualifying is not where the points are awarded. I'm aware of that, but does that make a difference into how the race plays out for both of you in order for, let's say you qualify up front, Pluto qualifies where he did today, or vice versa? Does that play a difference into how, you go for the results, you try to do what you can to maximize as many points as you can to catch Pluto? Or does it really not have much of effect at all with how these last 2 races have gone?
Well, obviously qualifying, been kind of struggling. I don't know. I think we all made mistakes on our last run, and obviously it makes a difference. Obviously where you start and obviously what tire you go on, and then obviously if I start like P3, maybe I keep up with Joe, but Joe's in that Red Bull, he's so fast today that I doubt it anyway. I doubt I would have even won the race. I would have stayed with P2. But maybe if something, if I can put it on pole in Japan magically or something, and Pluto's a little bit further down, that will change a lot, obviously.
Mm-hmm. No other questions for you. Congratulations on P2. And your gap is now 32 points, by the way, if you've not heard that 10 times.
That's it.
As for our winner now, QBR20 Joe. Joe, a Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring, it does seem fitting, it does seem right, but for you, it is your first win. You become the 10th different winner of the season, and now the 8th different first-time winner of the season. How does that feel now that you've won this race? And you won it in dominating fashion, too.
It feels alright. To be honest, I didn't think I would win that much. It was always a doubt as to whether I could race. I got home half an hour for qualifying, went toilet. I had about 2 time trial laps. Didn't have a great qualifying even on my even in Q3. And then because of my last run, I just didn't do turn one. So I felt a bit under pressure. And then with about 3 seconds left, I actually chose the hearts, which was a very good thing because no one had no clue about the rain. So I'm glad I did go on the hards. So I could then go on to Inter to make the one stop happen. Got a penalty, which was a shame. But overall, it was a good race.
Yeah, as for the next two tracks coming up, I mean, do you feel like it'll be third place finishes, a win? I mean, what do you see happening in Japan and Abu Dhabi, the final two of the season?
In Japan, I think I'll struggle quite a bit. Because I'm just not very good around that track. Doesn't really suit the Red Bull as much as this track, but Abu Dhabi is a track I like. I'm quite good at, so I hope I can do quite well there. But Japan, I don't think will be great for me.
And lastly, I want to ask this question about, I would say a question that could come up eventually, or just by the gap that you've won today, and I'm sure you're expecting the question at some point. Do you feel like with the gap you've won with today, that people may question you being in the Red Bull, or do you feel like today was a one-off and the Red Bull is that strong around Austria that you're able to excel the way you were?
I mean, of course, I'm expecting some of the claims too fast for the Red Bull. I feel like these next 2 races I'll struggle more than today, but I feel like how I've been in the last few rounds shows that yes, I've been quite fast in qualifying. I haven't done as well in the races due to different factors. But I think today it just really suited me down to a T with how everything panned out. To be honest, I didn't think I'd win by as much as I did. So of course it's nice to win like that. But yeah, not really too much else to say.
Congratulations on the win and your first win.
Thank you.
Bernie Man, any questions?
No, I haven't. I just want to quickly point out how when he got asked the question, how does it feel? Decent. Not that impressive.
Yeah, in my party, Lando was probably more happy with his result than what I was.
Oh, I love it.
I saw that P6.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it must be. All right. Now, it is Japan next week. We are done with the October month of racing, and we've had, I believe I want to say, 5 different winners in these 5 races. That's impressive for the October month. Fair play. On to Japan, on to Abu Dhabi. 2 races left of the season. Catch us then. The constructors still can be won in Japan. The drivers can still be won in Japan as well. Tune into those races. And until next time, have a good one. We'll see you next week.